Let's learn something really quick.
If you got the time, absolutely. And you got the discipline, there's no question about it.
I love that. Yeah, that's a great practice to put into your everyday life, you guys.
You generally regret the things you don't do, not the things you did do. Let me say it that way.
Mic drop. This was just awesome. I love meeting my guests in person, and it's a whole nother animal, and the energy is just electric. You guys, this is your host, Deanna Radulescu with Label Free Podcast. To live your best life, you must live label free. What is good, everyone? This is your host, Deanna Radulescu with Label Free. To live your best life, live label free. And we're back with our resident relationship wizard. You guys, if you have not been reaching out or tuning in, you are missing out on a fantastic opportunity to talk to one of the best relationship coaches, wizards, therapists, counselors in the world. He's got over 50 years experience. Fred has been here for quite a while now, and he brings a lot of great wisdom to the show. So if you are experiencing issues in your relationship, Fred offers a free call for you to see if it's a good fit and to see if he can't offer some help. He's very passionate about helping you revive, repair, revitalize, whatever your relationship / marriage, partnership, whatever you want to define it as. In today's episode, we are going to focus on don't give up on love, immediate tools to fix a troubled relationship. Fred, welcome back. As always, it's such a pleasure to have you on the show and talk about these very important issues within relationships and helping people and guiding them towards having a healthy, successful, fulfilling relationship. Can you please reintroduce yourself to the audience and tell them a little bit about your background?
Sure. I've been a licensed marriage family therapist. I've been helping people to save their relationships for over 50 years. I probably helped to save over 10,000 relationships. And I believe that most relationships that end are like an unnecessary tragedy, that people have gotten the right kind of help. They could have, and because they're often when they end, they're still in love, and they still feel love for each other. They've gotten the right kind of help. They could have both saved the relationship and gotten the tools to make it fully work for both of them. Because that's my interest, not just saving a relationship.
Right.
Really works for each person.
And I agree with you. I mean, I think that a lot of relationships can be saved, and it's just unfortunate that people don't want to put in the work or the effort to make that happen, that I feel like they give up not easily, because I feel like it takes a lot to get to that point, right? But I think that they don't open themselves up to the ability to fix and repair it. So we did mention what today's episode is going to be out.
I want to speak to that though.
Okay, good.
So that's part of it, but also people often do want to put in the work and they get the wrong kind of help.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I know we've talked about that on previous episodes. And so if you guys are interested in what he means by that, either book the call with him. If you are hearing this and it's striking a chord with you, book the call with him, or go back to previous episodes and listen to what he has to say about that. Don't give up on love. Immediate tools to fix a troubled relationship. I never want to give up on love. I love, 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 love. See, I'm wearing, look at the shirt. I didn't even premeditate this. This is what I wore today. And so this is what I'm jumping. So don't give up on love. And the hearts are here to remind you of that. So Fred, what do you mean by that when you say don't give up on love and you have tools to fix a troubled relationship?
Well, most people have actually, I had a client that called it that he's in a status quo marriage.
What does that mean?
And what I interpret that to mean is that people will go along, and often it's not bad enough that they want to break up.
Yeah.
But they're just kind of going through the motions. They're like roommates. They're not often, get to the point they're often not even friends anymore. They're not romantic. They're not sexual. That they're just kind of going through the motions.
Yeah.
That's what I consider a status quo relationship.
Yeah. And I think a lot of relationships get to that point, no?
Yeah. Yeah.
Why do you think that people get into those ruts, so to speak?
Well, I think the how that it happens is when when the individuals in a relationship don't have a clear vision about how they want their marriage to be or their relationship. So we have a lot of unmarried couples in relationships. They don't have a clear vision and they just kind of keep falling into whatever happens. They're reactive rather than proactive.
Yeah. Do you think that they get into just like a routine that's kind of just like you said, status quo, right? Just a routine, status quo relationship. It's like Groundhog's Day every day.
Yeah.
And I think that could really, what's the word I'm looking for? Like, like disconnect people in a way where they're not actively working on connecting in their relationships.
Yeah.
Is that one of the tools that you're talking about?
That's a good way to put it, because when people first meet and there's chemistry, it's kind of effortless connection. And once that newness wears off, unless you keep working on connecting, you're going to get more and more disconnected.
Yeah.
You get focused on getting things done.
Yeah.
But not on really connecting in the interaction.
Yeah. I would agree with that. Like I've experienced that in my last marriage and now in my current relationship. I'm a very systematic person. So I always refer to myself, you guys, I'm not like, I refer to myself so I have you can like relate to me. And if you make you think about your situation, when I talk about it, I want you to relate to it. So you maybe strike some things in like what you're going through that maybe you will be like, I'm going through that too. I didn't think of it that way. So maybe I need to call Fred and see how I can reconnect. So I'm a very systematic person. I like doing the same thing every day, all day long. Like I like to have my meals planned out. Love to have my supplements. I get up at the same time. I have the same routine. But when it comes to my partner, I want to make sure that I am giving him attention, send him like little texts throughout the day, like just to try to connect with him on that loving, like, what's the word I'm looking for? Like from a loving place, like communication.
Yeah, that's right on.
Am I saying the right thing? But it's like
you're right on track, because you're connected. You're mindful that you want to connect with them throughout the day.
Yeah. Okay. Right. Exactly.
Yeah,
and so
right on track.
Even if you are having like checking off the list, right? Like I'm a list person. I'm very like boom, boom, boom. Like, my late husband used to call me a sergeant because I would want things done all the time. But I always make sure that I would disconnect from getting things done to making sure that I'm connecting with my partner and saying, oh, I think you're great. You're so handsome today. Like, oh my God, I can't wait to kiss you. Whatever it might be, something like that. And so do you think a lot of people forget to do that in their relationships?
Yes, I think they do. If they have positive thoughts or feelings about their partner, they don't think to speak it.
Why is that, you think?
Because it's not part of their pattern. People tend to operate habitually. So if you don't consciously create how you want to be, you're going to kind of revert back to whatever you fall into.
So how do you help your clients or people get into that type of habit if it's not something that's part of like maybe their mindset, Like I personally actively want to connect with my person. If I start feeling disconnected, that's not a good place for me to be, because then I might go somewhere else. And I don't want to do that. I want to stay committed. I want to stay loyal. And I want to make sure that I'm putting the effort in so that we do stay committed. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's right on track. So one element, something we talked about in other episodes, is about being conscious of what your negative case in your mind is against your partner, and actively working to reverse that.
Yeah.
A quick reminder that once the newness wears off in a relationship, people tend to create a generalized negative case against their partner.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Reinforce that. And then that affects how they think about their partner and how they communicate and and whether or not they connect with them or not.
Yeah. Because like after your first fight or second fight, third fight, you start like the case. I like that you said it that way, because I never thought of it like that. You start building a case. Like I'll be honest, like I've done it. And then I have to break that case apart, and just like come back to where we can connect. Because when you have a fight over something stupid, which everybody does, if you're not having a little bit of a tip in your relationship, where's the passion? The passion is gone. You got to have a little bit of a tip. Like, come on, let's throw some stuff at each other and like then rip each other's clothes off, like something like that. Like you have to. I don't care what anybody says. I had grandparents that were married way past 50 years, and they would have little arguments, and then they would get real sweet with each other, and it was like the cutest thing. And I feel like you have to have a little bit of that in a relationship to keep it spicy.
That's one element. Another element is that you want to be able to really commit yourself to create time during the day to just have positive, fun communication. Couples get into transactional relationships. Did you do this? Did you do that?
Oh, yeah.
What time is this going to be ready? And as part of life, but they're just it's not part of connecting.
Not at all. I love that you said that. Yeah.
So my dream is, because I'm really busy now in my life, especially my business life, is that when I have free moments, wherever I am, I'll just call up my wife and say, do you have time for a little visit?
Aw.
And she knows what that means. It's just hanging out, connecting time.
Yeah.
I'm not going to ask her any transactional questions. It's just to connect. What were your highlights today? What spoke to today?
Yeah. Is it easy or hard for someone to, if you're so used to communicating a certain way, right? And it's very transactional because you've gotten into a rut, right? Is it hard for someone to change that behavior or change that habit? Because it becomes like a habit, right? Where this is what you're used to doing. Oh, did you do the laundry? Did you pay that bill? Did you do this? Did you do that? Like that's the transactional piece you're talking about, right?
Exactly.
Whereas when you set aside some time and intentionally decide that you're going to really focus on your partner, what tips do you tell someone to say, okay, when you get into that time where you are committed to that time, how do you help them stop themselves from saying that? Because I feel like maybe a lot of type A women, I'm sorry, I'm one of them. But a lot of type A women would have a hard time not doing that transactional piece because they want to check off their list, right?
And type A men too.
Oh, absolutely. I'm only speaking for women because I'm a woman. Yeah. That's all I can speak to. So maybe you're the type A man, so you can speak to that.
Well, so again, it has to do with being proactive, having a clear vision. Like, what's your ideal relationship? And then once you identify that, you commit to that and go, okay, how do I need to be? Not how does my partner need to be? How do I need to be to model that, create that, manifest that in my relationship?
Yeah.
And then you use your phone.
Then you use your phone.
Then use your phone. You put in lots of reminders.
Yeah.
I use the alarm system on my phone. So I have a lot of alarms going off during the day to remind me of the changes that I want to make. Because I'm after sustainable change, not a temporary change.
Do you still do that to this day?
I absolutely do that to this day.
Wow.
Yes.
Okay. I like that. So can you give us an example of what an alarm would be?
An alarm would be if my wife has something going on, then I want to remind myself to go and tune in with her, when she's getting ready to go to it afterwards. She let me know she's going, spend the day with her best friend.
Aww.
And other things. I thought that was wonderful.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to track that because I've got up doing other things I'm tracking. So
yeah.
So I got more information when she's going, when she's coming back, to put in reminders so that I could wish her having a great day. And another reminder to, check with her when she's back about, what the fun things they did.
So sometimes when I make a decision, and this is just for me, I'm talking, to say, even though maybe we've had a disagreement, and I'm going to look past the disagreement and I'm just going to put a positive foot forward and say something positive, right? And sometimes it feels like maybe a little forced for me, but I know it's the best thing to do in that moment. And then things get back on track. Do you think it's hard for people to to make that decision and actually take that first step forward, because I feel like if you have too much pride or ego, it would be very difficult for you to want to do something like that and actually do it.
Yeah. So it's hard if you're being proactive, but it's hard if you're being reactive,
Yeah.
and more doable if you're being proactive.
Yeah.
Because the go-to for most people is, well, why should I do this when they don't do this for me?
Absolutely. I mean, I have that thought going through my head too, but like you have to, like, if you care about your relationship and you want to nurture it, like you have got to not put the ego first, right? Because that's ego.
Right. So you put your vision first. You put your goals first. Your goals are how you want your relationship to be.
Yeah.
Then you're acting off what you want, not off the negatives that you're conditioned to react to.
Yeah. I like that.
People really get stuck, as we talked about before, that mindset relationship is 50-50. Horrible mindset. Because it translates to, I'll treat you as badly as you treat me. That's how most people act on that way of thinking. Versus what makes the relationship work is your commitment to yourself with how you want to be as a partner.
So I want to say something. I want to say something to that. I have those thoughts too, and I'm sure you do.
Sure.
When you're in your relationship,
yeah.
It's okay to have those thoughts like, oh, it's 50-50. Blah, blah, blah. It's okay to have those thoughts, but not to act on them. Right.
Right. Good. Important distinction.
Right. So we're all human, and we all have feelings. We all have stuff that we carry with us. We all are pre-programmed that we're trying to work through. I don't care how old you are. You're still dealing with some of that crap and how much work you've done, how many psychedelic retreats you've done. I don't care. We still have this stuff that we're pre-programmed with. And we're going to have a reaction when our partner that we love so much, you're never going to disappoint me. Oh, you're the best thing in the whole wide world. But when they do something to disappoint you that makes you upset, you are going to automatically, human condition, to have that thought in your mind, like, oh, well, I'm going to do this to you because you did that.
Right, right.
And when you talk about the vision, it's that distinction to say, okay, well, I know I'm feeling this way, but the right thing to do is to love my partner no matter what, and not to react to this negative thing that just what's the word triggered me. Right.
Right.
So it's okay to have those thoughts.
Yeah. Yeah. Thoughts are our thoughts.
Mm-hmm.
Can't hurt somebody with your thoughts.
Right.
Certainly can't with your actions or your attitude.
Right.
One of the biggest things I remind people of again and again when I'm working with them is speak to your partner like this is the person that you love.
Well, yeah.
Sounds really obvious.
Some people forget about that. Like, oh.
Yeah, but most people, especially in a coaching session, it's like, if you know what's going on, it sounds like you got two enemies that the therapist or the coach is refereeing for. Yeah, they don't seem within a love relationship.
I've been there. It's no fun. It's no fun. That's my last marriage. Yeah, that was terrible. I mean, we were screaming at each other. Like, it was just, we couldn't. And for therapists that we had at the time, she's just sitting there. She couldn't do anything.
Right. It's a waste to get help that way, and it's a waste of how you do relationship that way.
Yeah.
So if your primary focus is, I love this person I'm with, I'm always going to treat them in a loving, kind, respectful, supportive way. That's the focus for how you communicate, for what you give to that person.
Yeah. And that's like one of the tools, right? Would you consider that a tool, like to always keep that love that, you say you love someone and you are committed to them. You got to put that first before a reaction of negativity towards something that maybe hurt you or triggered you from something that they did.
Sure. And when you're feeling reactive, which is part of being human, interrupt the pattern, take a break. Don't communicate from that place of reaction. It's not going to be kind or loving or compassionate or supportive.
I want to see the people that do that. If you guys are listening to this, and if you can actually take a break when you're in the heat of it, let us know because we want to hear about it.
Well, again, the way to do that is not when you're in the heat of it. Too hard when you're in the heat of it.
Well, I know, but like you've said this before, and I just reflect on some of my past fights in my relationships, right? My last one specifically. And when we were in the heat of it, like there is no like coming to, it was just like insanity. And so, like, how, when you're in that place, what can you do to like stop that, you know what I mean?
Yes.
Like, because I'm not like that anymore. I'm not like that anymore. I will just sit back. I will just like take a breath. And like now at this point in my life, peace is like ultimately like I just want peace and love, and I want to be happy. I don't want to live in misery, and I don't want to fight all the time. And I embrace love, like, and that's something that I've decided for myself. And it took a lot of time for me to be by myself, not have like outside influences to understand what that looks like, right? And so in my current relationship, I want to make sure that I'm like, if we're upset, we're having a fight, like I'm just going to sit there and I'm going to listen. I'm not going to react right away. And that's hard to do. I don't think a lot of people, because in my previous one, I couldn't sit there. I was like, where? You know what I mean? And I think a lot of people haven't done the work to the place where they know what peace and love looks like, where they're automatically on the defense.
So the answer, because he asked a question at the beginning of that, and the answer to the question is, he asked, how do you do this when you're in the heat of the argument?
Yes.
And the answer is before. In other words, the time you're able to do that before you ever get to that point. That if you, for everybody, that there's, as I said before, that there's an early warning sign that we're beginning to go into negative emotion. It's going to be one of two things.
Okay.
The sensation, a specific part of your body, or a change in your body temperature. That's going to be your earliest conscious awareness warning sign that you're beginning to go into negative emotion. That's the timing to take that break.
Yeah. I like it. Okay. Well, we're like running.
It's virtually impossible to do it when you're already in the heat of the argument.
I can't
give you snow for that one.
I agree with you there. First of all, when I turn red and I'm like, my fangs come out. Oh, you better watch out, boy, because I'm ready to box. But we don't do that anymore. We're all peace here. Well, it's time to wrap things up. So, Fred, I love this. Don't give up on love. And we talked about some real like powerful and impactful ways to deal with confrontation and conflict in your marriage and stay marriage relationship, and stay connected. And I think that ultimately it takes the desire and the intention, setting the intention to do that. Fred, can you let people know where they can find you and book that call with you if they are?
Sure. You can book that call by going to bookwithfredT.com. Just bookwithfredT.com. And also that I give like lots of relationship tips every week on my social media. So you can go to Fred_Talisman on my Instagram or my TikTok, and you'll get tons of tips.
Oh yeah. His social media is popping. It's off the chain. So I will put all his links in the show notes, in the TV notes, wherever you are tuning in at. Those links will be there. So make sure you go check him out on social. Go book that call with him. If you are struggling in your relationship and you want to make it better, please take advantage of the free call and book a call with Fred. He is going to help the best that he can and potentially save your relationship. So you have nothing to lose there. So go ahead and click that link and book that call. Fred, as always, what a great conversation, talking about real life things, real life issues in relationships, and how we can overcome them and make it a relationship better and survive, revive, successful, and all things. So love you to death. Thank you so much for bringing your wisdom and your advice and sharing with the audience.
Thank you.
You're welcome. You guys, this is your host, Deanna Radulescu with Label Free. To live your best life, live label free. We will be back next Monday at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 8 p.m. Central Standard Time. Until then, we will see you next week.